Okay, welcome back to the next lesson in this series. And this time around, we're going to be looking at fonts and we're also going to be looking at some key functions that you will be using your keyboard for, right? You cannot do without them. So let's start with fonts. What are fonts? Really, fonts are they're nothing much more than the style of your text, right? If it helps you to understand it at your level, you can think of font as your handwriting, right? And you'll notice that handwriting would vary from one child to another, right? Your handwriting is not the same as your friend's handwriting, right? Some handwriting can look playful, like this font here. Others can look a bit more serious, like the font that you see on the other side. Now, from the previous class also, remember that we talked about how that you can apply different sizes to fonts, right? You can make it bigger, smaller, you can change the size, and you can also change your kind of font. Another thing that we mentioned that you can do is the colors, right? So, and that's pretty much as much information that you need to remember when it comes to fonts, right? You should be very deliberate about the fonts that you use for any of your projects, right? Because different fonts can communicate differently to your users, right? Anyone who is going to see your Word, your desktop pub work project, right? So you would agree with me that sometimes if your fonts are too playful, like you see here, it is difficult to read. So be careful which font you use at every given point in time. Of course, you also want to use fonts with the right or appropriate colors also. You would agree with me that this particular font color doesn't look too nice. It makes it almost impossible to read. Now let's quickly get to the keyboard functions that you cannot do without, right? The first keyboard function that you cannot do without is the the art, right? The capital letter, right? Let's start with capital letter. Whenever you want to press capital letter or use a capital letter or insert a capital letter, you just hold down your shift key and then press the letter that you want to appear as capital, right? In today's class, what we learned was how to use the caps lock, right? You can toggle it on or toggle it off, right? When you press the caps lock button, there's usually an indication, this little LED, right? It could even be on the caps lock button itself or just at the top, somewhere around here. When you turn it on, any letter you type in would immediately appear as capital letter. As long as it is turned on, it will remain as capital letter. It will only change to small letter when you turn it off. If you don't want to go through that hassle, then you can just simply hold down your shift key and then press the appropriate letter and it will appear as capital letter. The moment you've gotten your capital letter, you can let go of the shift key and then you are back to all small letters. Now, this is a very useful key. Not only can you insert capital letters by pressing down the shift key, right? You can also add special characters. Remember how that we use this to add the art, right? The art symbol, right? If you remember in class, we were able to insert this symbol, the art symbol, right, by pressing down the shift key and pressing the number 2. If you want to insert the exclamation mark, you can see that all of these symbols are above of the numbers. You can access them or use them in your document by simply holding down the shift key and pressing the corresponding number, right? It also applies to the symbols here. If I want a full stop, I don't need to press down the shift key. I can just press this particular key and I get the full stop. However, if I want this symbol at the top here, I need to press down the shift key and then press this particular key. It gives me the symbols at the top. The symbols at the top, in summary, are the special symbols or special characters. If you want to access them, you need to press down your shift key and then press the corresponding symbol, right? If you don't want to access the symbols at the top, just press the key itself. If I press this particular key, what I will find on my document will be number 9. If I want the open bracket, I need to press the shift key and then access and then press that number 9. Then lastly, the backspace. This is very useful. Backspace you use to delete the text that you have inserted, right? And then enter, of course, goes to a new line. It takes you to a new line. So if you were previously on this line and you want to go to the next line underneath, you need to push the enter button. That brings you here. You can then begin to type, right?